So everybody else is at a normal time. Only I'm stuck at 4 a.m.
Only this
We are
time.
in the afternoon right now. It's 1 a.m. It's 1 p.m. right now. 1 p.m. in Egypt.
Oh, nice.
Oh. Israel, it's 2 p.m.
2 p.m.
Yeah.
2 p.m.
Good morning to all. This is Gopinath from Tamil Nadu. Hello, Gopish. Yes, ma'am.
Govinath.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Hey.
A good day to you. A good day to you.
And
Look at, I love this. Uche, this is this is really good.
What a wonderful meeting of global educators.
Hello, Sean.
Hello.
Hi.
Nice to see you here.
hello, producer.
Hello.
Oh, somebody wrote to me from El Paso.
Good morning.
Uche, by the way, we can't hear you, Uche. I can't hear Uche.
Yes. So I'm in from El Paso, Texas, so I'm very close to you, Dr. Greenfield. It's 5 a.m. here.
Hey, let's have a morning party.
Yes, I'm just in the background doing live stream.
What
Good
did
morning, everybody. Happy birthday, my friend.
It's a great celebration.
Celebrating our future. That's what education is.
Yep. Yes, exactly.
We're the true futurists. Passing on information, making little kids smart and old people smarter.
We can't hear Uche. He's trying to tell us something, but we can't hear.
Uche, I think you have to unmute yourself. You're muted, maybe?
No,
We cannot hear you.
the problem.
We don't hear you.
Yes, she has been having trouble with her audio because of the storms where she is at,
Okay.
but she's still doing this and she's amazing. So she is going to make it happen.
Morocco, Indonesia.
Hi, Nadia. Nice to see you.
Daniel from El Paso. Russia. Pretty?
Yeah,
Pretty.
I'm Preeti. Yeah, I'm Preeti. Yeah, I'm Preeti.
Hi, Pretty. You're pretty.
Thank
Where
you.
are you?
I'm from India. I'm
India,
from Delhi,
where?
capital
Oh,
city.
Delhi?
Yeah.
Kenya.
Uche, why don't you try your phone? Speaking from your phone, maybe? The audio of your phone might be working. We can. Okay, we can't hear you.
And join again. You can leave the meeting and join again.
I think she's the host, though.
No, I am the host.
You're the host.
Yes.
Well, then there shouldn't be a problem then.
And join back to the phone, maybe.
Olakan Adiko. Hello, Olakan.
Hello, David.
Where are you calling from?
Nigeria.
Nigeria, another Nigerian. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I'm just loving this. This is what the web is all about. What?
So good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I'm just going to talk from the background. My name is Stormy Daniels, and I'm in Texas in the United States. And our host and our founder will get started in a moment. So in the meantime, feel free to discuss how things are in your world. Thank you all for being here. This is amazing, powerful, and we will get started in a moment. Thank you for your patience.
Let's not forget.
Thank you, Storm. Thank you.
I can see Uche there. Welcome back. Oh, we cannot hear you.
Oh,
There is some problem in the audio.
there certainly is.
Um,
Uche, try to use your phone for audio. You can use your laptop for video and mobile phone for audio.
I think that will really help. Yeah, if you use simultaneously both the instruments, you'll be fine.
We can't hear you.
Yeah.
Or type something for us in chat. We will see. Because we can see you are talking, but we don't hear you.
Actually.
We heard her for about 3 seconds earlier.
Stormy, maybe we will start?
Yes, Muhammad is the host. Is he back in here?
Muhammad.
He's going to get it started because I can't turn on my camera because I'm live streaming. Yes. So we have it
Muhammad is there.
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you.
Do you suggest Stormy to start?
Yeah, why not?
Yes, go ahead and
We'll
just say what all the wonderful things about our birthday girl and the founder of 21st DigiSkills. So just introduce her, and then when she gets her mic, and then we can start with the first keynote. Thank you.
No problem. Okay, no problem. Okay. So let's start. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Perfect.
yes, we can.
We can hear you.
Everyone, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us today in our international webinar. While we are celebrating, we have a nice and special, if not spectacular celebration. We are celebrating our friend's birthday today, but remotely and digitally. We are going to discuss bridging the gap of digital divide by integrating the 21st century learning skills. And of course, we are going to celebrate our host or the founder of 21st Digi Skills, Okbala Emmanuel, and she's going to join us when she has, she has some problems with her audio, but she's going to be with us as soon as possible. So let's start by introducing our first. Today we have two amazing keynote speakers and I think 14 featured presenters who are going to share their best practices, their ideas, how they are integrating technology inside their classrooms. So let me share my screen and start with our amazing keynote speaker, Dr. David from US.
Hi.
I'm sharing my screen right now. It is first keynote speaker, Dr. David from, the first keynote speaker, Dr. David. The microphone is yours right now.
Good morning to everybody, or good afternoon, or good day. Ms. Daniels, it's definitely good morning. To me, it's definitely good morning, and to the rest of you, I hope you have a wonderful day. Happy birthday to Uche. And my approach to all of this is a little different. It's not better, it's not worse, it's a little different, and I think I bring up some ideas that are critical for the 21st century skills. First, to give you a little introduction, a very short introduction to myself. I earned a bachelor's degree in history, actually Jewish history. Later on, went on and got my master's degree in educational technology, and then my doctorate in learning technologies. So my interest is really in the application of tools, of the digital tool, as opposed to the tool itself. And I'll tell you why in a little bit. I want to start out, I get a little bit of feedback there. I want to start out with technology. I should say, before I get back to that, amongst the years I've taught in a lot of different places, at different ages. My favorite area of teaching or working in education is in the museum world with what is known as informal learning, or as we like to say now, free choice learning. People come into a museum because they want to learn, not because they're forced to. And they come in with amazing curiosity and energy and a desire to learn, but to learn in whatever area they're most interested in and what they are usually what they excel at. So, there's a science museum, science and computers in San Jose. Filled with people who love science and computers. You go to an art museum, you're going to find it.
Mr. David, you are muted. Please unmute. We cannot hear you.
Dr. David, can you hear us?
But you can unmute yourself.
I think you unmuted everybody.
Okay, everybody here? Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
We can.
Yeah.
Did you hear me talk about museums, or did I cut out before that?
I think we heard you talk about museum.
All right. In my, I currently work in a college in Bakersfield, 2 hours north of Los Angeles, as an educational technologist, which is a fancy name for a trainer, but I'll get to that afterwards. Over the years, the more I thought about technology, the more I've been curious about how we use it. So I looked in the dictionary, and here are 3 of the definitions that I found. The application of this knowledge for practical ends, the terminology of an art, science, a technical nomenclature, a scientific or industrial process, invention, method, or the like. There are a couple of other definitions, but none of them use the word digital or digital technology. And I think it's really important to remember what we're doing and where we're doing it and what we're trying to do. Many times people get really focused on the tool and the basic uses of the tool, but they don't think about it as more than that. You have a word processor, so Microsoft Word. You have an image processor, Photoshop. But these are all aspects of a tool, and the tool changes all the time. So by focusing on the actual technology, we kind of forget, or often forget, to introduce people to the idea of thinking in technology. And that is something I come to bringing ideas of both Marshall McLuhan, who wrote The Medium is the Message. And as an artist, I did mention that my early studies were in fine art, and I painted for 20 years. I still paint actually, but then I was doing it more serious. I should say it was my main job. So what you learn as an artist is to work in whatever media you have available. If you have paint and brushes, you paint. If you have pencils, you draw. If you only have a stick in the dirt, then you can draw in the dirt. I remember as a youth taking little berries from a plant next to my house and drawing on the wall. My father was not too pleased with that, but it kind of showed you what direction I was going in. So that's my approach to technology, that it's a tool, and we have to get people familiar with the thought process and kinds of activities that you can do and should try to do, because the technology itself, the tools themselves, change constantly. When Apple Computer first started, they were a computer company. Nobody in their mind would have thought that Apple would suddenly become a telephone maker and a distributor of music and media. They were a computer company back then, a technology company, but they changed. Everything changes. So we need to learn how to adopt. That's probably one of the biggest skills, to adopt and adapt at pretty much rapid fire. Every other year or every year, new technology comes out, a new phone comes out, a new something comes out. And while the people at the top of the economic structure can keep up to date all the time, a majority of people cannot. And they're stuck not only with old computers, but not knowing how to use this old technology, and often thinking the only way to use it is properly, it's to be one of the engineers that walks around with a pocket protector in their pocket and all their pens in it. But that's not the case. Where's my slide so I can see it? So what I've noticed over the years is there are 2 different approaches of educational technology. One is technology as an administrative tool to manage a class, manage a school, for the more formal, often bureaucratic work. The other is technology as a teaching tool, where you're really student-centered and you want to engage students in learning and to introduce them to new ways of working, producing, and communicating. And with that in mind, I always think about how we cannot be limited by lack of the newest, biggest, or most powerful technology. In my city is in a rural community. It's 500,000 people, but they're spread across a large area. It's in a rural community, and they're students who live in areas, farmland, where they don't have Wi-Fi, they don't have, barely have any internet, and they can't afford a computer, so they do everything on the mobile phone. I'm sure that where people are calling from around the world, that you're going to find members of the population that are in that situation. So if I want to use the old English expression, if life gives you a bag of lemons and you make lemonade, if all you've got are a mobile phone, then you have to teach students how to think in ways that they can really utilize the power and the unique qualities and strengths of a mobile phone, and introduce them to thinking in technology so that they'll see what they can do when they have their basic tool. I remember two particular TED Talks that I heard, both from the African continent. I sadly don't remember their names of the presenters. One gentleman was a plant biologist who was working in Central Africa in banana fields, and he would walk around and, the famous Cavendish banana is dying all over the world. We have other kinds of bananas, but this is the main one. And he was working in these fields in Cavendish bananas, trying to figure out what was wrong and how to protect them. The only tool he had, and a lot of farmers in the country and surrounding countries, the only tool they had was a mobile phone. So people started taking pictures of their bananas and sending it to him that he would look at and be able to help them diagnose the problem and give them guidance. And so that was something that could not have been done with any early kind of communication technology, where you have a camera and a phone together so you can send pictures back and forth. So the people using it were learning to think in technology, the technology or digital technology. But there's another kind of technology, which is the non-digital. And there's another gentleman in Africa whose story was turned into a book and a movie, where he lived in a village that had no pump. And so it had a well, but it was hard to bring the water up, and it had no electricity to power the pump. So he looked around and looked at all the spare parts and pieces of things around the village and designed a pump made from all of these spare parts and objects from around the village, and used it to power up a generator that people could use to power their phones and then communicate with everybody else in other countries. So this was you might say, a semi-digital technology. But the main part of it was an analog. He didn't let the situation in which he was in hold him back. And so when you learn to innovate and improvise with the technology that's available, here I'm losing my screen, there it is, then when you actually get into a computer and actually getting to work with it, you find that you don't have to be an engineer. For those painters, they'll use an artist, they're going to learn to use the computer as an art tool. The engineers will use a computer for an engineering tool. The writers will type up manuscripts and books and papers. It's a lot of different things, and we need to teach the youth, and actually more than the youth. We need to teach people of all ages how to think in using this technology. We need to focus on using whatever you have. If you have the biggest, the best, use it. Great for you. If you don't, then find something else to use. Find another way of doing it. Maybe you have to type instead of typing, you have to write out your homework with a pencil, but your teacher's somewhere else. So you get someone with a mobile phone with a camera, and they take a picture of using of your work written in pencil or pen, the traditional communication media, and then you take a picture of it and send it to the teacher to grade. You're learning to think in broader terms than just a word processor, than just Microsoft Word, than just Adobe Photoshop. You're learning to use the tool as a tool, because in 10 years from now, there's a good chance that something's going to totally replace it. You learn to focus on the creativity involved. I mean, my work, I went from acrylic on canvas to doing a lot of digital work. I love a computer, but if I don't have it, then, or if I want to, I work outside to create. So I don't forget these things. It's a different thing when you're typing, but when you're actually making something and drawing something, you're using more skills, which affects the cognitive development of the individual. And that's what you want to do. You want them to get to think. Focus on how you can use imagination with your students. Really use imagination. Assign a project and say, do this project, do it as a group. You do it as a group, you teach collaboration, which I'm sure you all know about. I know you're going to be creating something where it's the constructivist way of thinking, where you're going to build something that helps teach people, and let your imagination go. I had an assignment, a totally digital assignment when I was in graduate school, where each student was given access to a web platform that allows you to travel around space. You can do a Star Wars kind of trip through space, looking forward, backwards, sideways, up, down, whatever you want. And we had to create an assignment of what we would do with this particular software. Most of the people did the understandable space journey, exploration, new planets. Great stuff. My interest is oftentimes how we approach life and how our stories and the narratives inform us. And the traditional narratives are called the myths of our different peoples. And a lot of these myths are inspired by the constellations in the sky. So I live in the Northern Hemisphere, and I can look up and see constellations that people in the Southern Hemisphere do not see. Does it mean that theirs is better or mine is better? No, it just means it's something else. So I was started to wonder, what would it be like to compare the narratives and the stories and the myths of people from the Northern Hemisphere with the stories and narratives and myths from the people in the Southern Hemisphere? We're looking at a completely different sky, a completely different set of constellations. And I began to wonder, do they develop the same kinds of stories and tell the same kind of stories as of their brothers and sisters in the North? So my assignment was not really going into space, but looking into space and thinking about how that space inspires our imagination. It inspires us to think differently, and also to think about the comparisons, the similarities and the differences, but that all make us each individual members of individual unique communities. That when we understand it, it helps us become better people as a planet, because we see that there are things that are different, but it's pretty cool because it's great that it's different. It makes it a richer, I'm sure a lot of you eat with, add different spices in your food. It's these spices that make it interesting, that make it tasty. So we get to share in everybody's. Hello?
Excuse me, Dr. David, you have 1 minute remaining. Excuse me, since we have a lot of, since we have so many guest speakers.
All right.
1 minute, please.
Innovation and all of this will help develop the cognitive development of individuals, and we're teaching towards the future to whatever technologies may or may not exist, teaching people how to think and use the technology in an effective way. And I thank you very much. To everybody here, happy birthday, Uche. I hope you can hear me. And thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. David. What a great overview of the 21st century skills. Thank you so much. So let's move to our next keynote speaker, Mr. Babatunde from Nigeria. Can you hear us? Are you with us?
Maybe it's something in Nigeria.
The network over here is something else. Maybe you could just move on to proceed to the next speaker. Am I audible? Can you hear me?
So, yeah, okay.
We can hear you.
Yeah, welcome back. Yes.
Nice to hear you.
Now we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Super excited now. So could you
So
please
let's move to our first. Yes, let's move to our first featured presenter, Mr. Shafia from Tunisia. Can you hear us?
From Tunisia.
Yes, hello everybody. Nice
Hi.
to meet you all. Hello.
Happy birthday, my dear friend. I hope
Thank
many
you so much.
returns.
Yeah.
Sevilla from Indonesia.
Yes.
So, Mrs. Shafia, before you start, pay attention to the time, please. You have up to 5 minutes.
Okay. So
Okay.
I am Shafia Shukruho from Tunisia. I am computer science teacher in Khairuddin Ghreiba preparatory school. I'm MIA expert, Microsoft Innovative Educator, Master Trainer. I am ambassador in the initiative Dari Education. Also, I am a trainer robotics. Now I am ambassador in 21st DigiSkills, the great project. I am so happy with you all.
Okay.
Robotics in education. 5 good reasons to teach robotics. Develop their competitive instinct in the right direction. So by organizing a competition between students in the same country or with other countries. A good way to integrate programming into education. So in the curriculum in Tunisia, in the middle school, there is robotic. Very useful skills for the future jobs. The future jobs include involved robotics, programming application with mobile, suitable for all students. So any student can code and program. There is also 21st century skills, for example, collaboration, work in team, critical thinking. If there is a false, you can regulate the program. Communication between students, creativity, innovation, and many things. So this robot McQueen. So I use McQueen in my classroom. So McQueen, it is very easy to program. A smart educational robot, small but powerful. So you can find many things. For example, running McQueen, powerful drive motor, follow line. You can program the robot follow line. Line training expert. With line training sensor, McQueen can move and turn around along with a certain route. Also, we have sharp eyes. You see? So, take ultrasonic sensor. Can eyes to avoid obstacle, range and follow object. Also, light chaser, light and run towards it. Lighting show, So in lighting show, you can create music with buzzer and colorful stage. So there is the buzzer is here. So is here the buzzer. It is very small. So you can find many program. You can find many competition between students. Play. I say for my students, you can play and learn in the same time. I use also Mainstorms V3. It is very useful in for students. You build the robot, then the program. You can use ultrasonic sensor, sensor of color. You can use many things. So I hope integrate robotics in education.
Thank you so much.
Everywhere. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Shafia, for this great. Thank you so much for this great presentation. Thank you. We hope to use robotics education in the near future very soon. Thank you. So let's move to the next featured presenter from, I think he's from Nigeria. Can you hear us, Mr. Amilcan Adiko? Can you hear us? Are you with us today?
Yes, I can hear you.
He's going to tell us how to use AR and VR inside our classroom.
Good day, everyone. I'm Olaleko Adieko. I'm a teacher, I'm a Microsoft certified educator from Nigeria. So I'm happy to be here today. So briefly, because I know I've got 5 minutes. So I've been speaking on how AR, augmented reality and virtual reality is reshaping learning. So I'll even throw in another word in there. I'll throw in the mixed reality. So we're talking about the three briefly: augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So why do we need VR or AR or mixed reality? What purpose and function will it fulfill? How will the technology be used and managed? I know these days we're as EdTech people, we're vast with other tools out there. So, and today now, VR and AR is another thing that has been thrown into the class.